Following on from the Waitrose beer, we're going up market again with this other Waitrose beer. This is Everstone, and it is from the Wild Beer Company. It's a New Zealand IPA, but what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going back to New Zealand. We seem to have quite a few New Zealand beers coming up on the channel. This is Everstone. It's a New Zealand IPA, a hazy New Zealand IPA, 5.8%. Got this one in Waitrose supermarket. This one and the Northern Monk one was the last review were the two that I got. And this one I picked up, thought, yeah, that looks interesting. I thought I'd seen it before, but I actually got a similar sort of can from the same people, a West Coast Pale Ale, which is from Sainsbury's. I've got that one coming up on the channel, but I wanted to drink this one first. I think this one was reasonably cheap. I think it was about, I want to say £2.80 or something like that, £2.75. So pretty good value if it's any good, of course. 5.8%. It says the hops on it. So it says a juicy hazy IPA with succulent stone fruit flavours from New Zealand. Hops, Waikiki, Rakau and Nectaron. So not your Nelson Sauvin and your Muteca, some of the more unusual ones, which gives me more excitement. I always like these ones. Nectaron I've had a few times and I've really liked. Waikiki, obviously we've got that one. I was saying this, I don't know whether this will probably go out before it, but I've got another one by them from Polly's coming up, a brand new one that will come up after these. In fact, we've probably got a few New Zealand beers coming up after these, so apologies for that. But as I say, New Zealand IPAs, my favourite sort of style. I like the New Zealand hops. I love IPAs. If they're New England style, then all the better. So yeah, well, let's see what this one's going to be like. Wild Beer, I can't say I probably have had stuff from them before, but I can't say I've been overwhelmed with a great beer. And wow, this is not the colour that I was expecting. So it is hazy, but it's almost orangey, peachy coloured. Not your sort of yellowy New England IPA sort of style, but obviously hazy. So not, it's much more orange. It's not as West Coasty. So interesting. We've got 2 fingers, fairly compact, just off Whitehead. Looks good, looks different. Let's see what the aroma's like. Oh, smells really good, nice and juicy. Lots of those more sort of, as I say, more stone fruits. You're getting peach in the colour, peach in the aroma. Peach, apricot are in there. Bit of mango. I'm not picking up your usual sort of New Zealand type of aromas, your sort of gooseberry, grape, your melon. Much more stone fruity, but I think it's going to be a real juicy one. So, see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Not bad. It's quite tangy. It's almost like... It's got a sweetness to it as well, and it's got a tangy sweetness. It is lots of flavours going on at once there. Let me go back to the flavour. In terms of the body, it's quite light. It's a little bit, the carbonation's a little bit sort of prickly, not as soft as you would expect. Hasn't really got the body of an IPA. It's 5.8%, so it's at the low end of an IPA in my opinion. But I've seen good IPAs at that sort of level in terms of the body, but this is a little thin in body. Some nice flavours. We're getting orange. We're getting peach and apricot in there. I don't want to be sort of pushed towards the flavours of the colour, but it pretty much it's the flavours are the same as the colour. So we're getting the orange, the sweet satsumas. We're getting peach and apricot. The apricot giving that a little bit more of a, I suppose, a little bit more of an earthiness to the beer. And there is that little bit of earthiness in there. It drinks, I think, because of the body, it drinks like a pale ale, because it's quite thin and a little bit prickly in the carbonation. It's all right. There's something about it that it's not, you wouldn't call it a New England IPA. It's like an American pale ale American IPA in terms of its sort of the flavour. You get the juice, then you get this sort of earthiness. You're not really getting, you get a slight sort of orange rind bitterness on the back end, but not much. But just the flavour of it, it's not as low in that sort of bitterness, I think, as a New England. And it's certainly not as soft. And there's a little bit of harshness coming in. It's difficult to describe what that harshness is, but to me, it's a little bit like a little bit of orange peel, bit of orange rind. Gives you that little sort of bit of bitterness. And it's got, the more I drink it, the more I think, oh yeah, there's a fair, it's quite dry. It's very sort of dry on the flavours. We've got the 3 different hops in there, but, you know, again, I'm not really sure how they actually sort of all work together. Because they're unusual, I'm not used to them. Yeah, you're getting stone fruits. It says stone fruits, and you're definitely getting stone fruit flavours here. I think if the beer had a little bit more body to it, it would be a much better beer. But at the moment, it's sort of quite light and thin. And so those flavours sort of come in, and then they sort of disappear. And what you're left with, you know, on the palate is really a sort of a slightly earthy, a slightly sort of, a very slight piney bitterness, a very slight, but you know, it's something that you certainly get here, well, you wouldn't get on a New England, and certainly when you're looking at these New Zealand IPAs that we've had and we've got coming up on the channel, they don't have this sort of harshness and this sort of bitterness. I think it's maybe, I'm a little bit confused by the fact that there's a lot of orangey passion fruit and stone fruit flavours, and they all sort of merge into one in terms of those flavours. So, you know, somebody could drink this and go, oh yeah, it tastes very orangey, and that's it. You know, some people could go, oh yeah, it tastes very peachy or very apricotty, or there's a bit of mango in there. But, you know, I think there's a combination of those, but they're a little bit muddled. I'd say it was all right, worth drinking. Certainly lots of juice and lots of flavour, you know. It's just that body's not quite right, and there's that little bit of harshness, which I know some people might like that. If you like your sort of more West Coast, but very subtle West Coast, or your American sort of pale ales, and I think you'd like this. I think for me, I've had some brilliant, absolutely brilliant New England type of New Zealand hopped IPAs that have been incredible, and comparing this to that is, you know, it's almost like a different drink really, but it's not bad. So Everstone Hazy New England IPA, as I said, I'm sure it was £2.80. I think it was reasonably cheap, because I know that the other one was, I think it was £3.75, the Laura Slater IPA, and I remember this one being cheaper than that, and I'm sure it wasn't £3. I think it was just under £3. But as I say, I've got a West Coast pale of that. Be interested to see how that describes from Sainsbury's, and that'll be coming up soon as well. Not bad. Wild Beer Company. Don't know much about them. Are they? I want to say they're Scottish, but I don't think they are. I think I'm getting confused with Fierce, which are Scottish. No, Wild Beer are from Westcombe. I don't even know where Westcombe is. What's the postcode? B. Can't read that. It's either BE or B, so it might be Bedford, mid, or it could be, I don't think it's Birmingham. But anyway, Wild Beer, let me know if you have any good beers from Wild Beer. Let me know where they're from. Gonna help others if you put in the comments. Let's get some scores, and until then, keep on rocking, folks. Okay, the scores are in for Wild Beer's Everstone Hazy New England IPA from Waitrose. If you like posh beer, you might like this. But this wasn't overly expensive, £2.80, I'm sure, £2.80 or £2.75, something like that. I'm sure it's under £3. Not bad for a 5.8% beer. Let's go through those scores, starting with aroma, appearance, flavour, value for money, and overall experience. And that gives a total score just about recommended of. They're better beers in the supermarket, but there are definitely worse ones. So give it a try and let me know in the comments if you've had it and what you think of it. And until the next one, please like, please subscribe, and please keep on rocking.